And the Horns will get first possession. Kenny Brooks was holding the basketball there for a moment. Caught it off the bounce, and here comes Texas.
This is going to be a battle today, Roy, between Tony Morgan and Roy Harmon. These are two of the top point guards in this conference. They are quick, fast, and can both shoot it.
I heard you know something about Tony Morgan. Can't wait to get the insider scouting report. Justice Carlton inside, and Texas strikes first.
Justice Carlton having such a good year. Just a player that's really coming into her own after dealing with some injuries early in her career.
Tiani Key back in the starting five. That's a big deal. Clara Strack, Amelia Hassett, Tony Morgan, the Georgia Tech transfer. And inside, the Cats tied up. Meanwhile, for UT, Horns at 22-2, 7-2 in league play. And Roy Harmon now the all-time steals leader in Texas basketball history. Combine that with the all-time assist leader for the Longhorns as well. As Carlton connects again, she has all four for Texas.
You know, Kentucky defended the start of that play extremely well. We watched them defend that and shoot around today. But Carlton finishes that play off with a tough shot. And there's no defense for a tough finish like that.
Carlton provides the defense with a block of Key there. Hassett left open and comes up short. Strack on the offensive glass.
And that's where Texas is really going to have to do their work to keep these bigs off of the glass from Kentucky, because Claire Strack and Tiani Key have long length. Their arms are long. They are just a long 6'5", 6'6" players.
We talked about the Twin Towers that we will see on display. Jordan Lee, that shot was blocked by Obi. And it pops back out to Booker. Carlton for three. And it glances out of bounds.
You see Clara Strack with that block. Look, she's their program's block leader. She set the record last year with 73 total blocks. She's only now about 8 more away from busting up her own record.
Coach, I need a scouting report on Tony Morgan. You had her Georgia Tech. She's now with Kentucky. And she can do a lot of things. You look at the numbers this year, 14-3. She's put up solid numbers for Kenny Brooks, but boy, she's made a big difference, I feel like, in Lexington.
Well, the first thing about Tony Morgan is the phenomenal athlete that she is. She's super fast. She can jump out of the gym. She's got a beautiful jump shot. We're going to be talking about jump shots today because there's a lot of mid-range jumpers. But Tony right here, look, the only Division I player with 14 points and 8 assists per game. She's assisting more at Kentucky than she did at Georgia Tech, because I needed her to score more. But she's got some players that can finish, and she understands that. And I think Kenny Brooks has been an excellent coach for her.
2 of 2 at the line. Kentucky with a 2-point advantage. The foul was on Harmon, her first. Now Kentucky coming off a heartbreaking setback against Vanderbilt. Game was there for the taking. They had a lead late, couldn't hold on to it. Then Michaela Blakes did her thing. Texas coming off a Thursday night win against LSU. Now against the zone. Outside to Carlton, 2 on the timer. Carlton is there.
You know, Justice Carlton has a pace to her game. It's not extremely fast. It's kind of methodical, but it is so nice and on point. And that jumper is very, very nice.
It's on point to the tune of 6 points, all 6 for the Horns to start tonight.
The challenge for Kentucky is going to be dealing with this physical Texas man defense. They get after you. They're physical with it.
Strack's off the mark. The rebound corralled by Harmon. Jordan Lee off the bounce. Well, back to the basket game. Bumped and fouled by Tony Morgan. Year 2 for Kenny Brooks in Lexington. We had a great conversation with him today. And tell you what, he believes his starting 5 can compete with anybody. And he'll be the first to tell you that. Now, they got to work on some depth. They got to grow some more players up as they get geared up for this stretch run, Coach, as Jordan Lee's going to shoot too.
Yeah, and I agree with Kenny, and he knows his team better than anybody, but his starting 5 is extremely high level. It's the depth department that they have to be careful with, because these 5 have to stay on the floor a large part of a game, stay out of foul trouble. We just saw Tony Morgan pick up her first foul, and so she's going to have to be really careful and play extremely smart for the rest of his half.
Off the heel, and Morgan quickly retrieves it against Harmon. Boy, fun battle there between those two, and a steal. Booker's on her way with the bounce. Jordan Lee.
And that's where they get you. They're physical, they defend you hard, they deny you hard. You turn the ball over, and Kentucky struggled with that against Vanderbilt. 20 turnovers, primarily live ball turnovers that turn into points on the other end.
Think about what Kenny Brooks told us today. You asked him about the key to winning this game tonight. He said, you know what? We got to be able to inbounds the basketball, and it can't be something that's difficult for us for all 4 quarters. And that's against that Texas pressure with Harmon right there at the point of it. Baseline for Carleton. She's got 8.
Justice Carleton is playing so confidently right now, and when Texas's defense is on, it becomes their offense. They become very, very confident on the offensive end.
7-0 run for the Horns, leading by 5. Big possession for Kentucky. Hassett trying to spot Strack. Finally, he'll try it high-low, and a turnover. Carleton unable to track it down. Goes back to UK.
But you see again, that was a live ball turnover, and if the pass had been on point by Booker to Carleton right there, that would have been a layup. And those are the things that Kentucky really has to avoid today, is the live ball turnovers.
You see what the turnover situation looks like for both teams this year. And in terms of Texas, at full court pressure, and on the border of the top 10, turning the opposition over at almost 24 per game.
So we were talking about Texas's quality depth. So now Rory Harmon's gone out of the game. Bree Preston comes in the game, a sophomore from Georgia. Her long length at that point guard spot creates really big problems for point guards because she can defend the ball just as well as Rory Harmon can.
Kaylin Carroll checks in for the first time, and Strack right before the shot clock expired makes it 11-8.
That's a huge basket for Kentucky right there. They needed to find some confidence right there offensively, and Strack gave it to them.
See if Madison Booker wants to get involved offensively here. And trying to feed the post, looking for Cunningham. And the pass goes out of bounds. A turnover. Average margin of victory at almost 35 points per game over the course of these 39 wins. How would you assess how Kentucky's handled that full court pressure so far?
I think they're doing okay so far. Their turnovers are they're keeping them down. Again, only 2 turnovers, but they've got to be careful with the live ball part of that.
Asia Boone just checked in, promptly hits a 3, the transfer from Liberty. And just like that, we're tied at 11. And then a turnover on the inbounds. Vic Schaefer can't believe it.
One of those miscommunications where somebody steps out of bounds and wasn't supposed to. Here we go. So, oh yeah.
That'll drive a coach crazy.
Well, she got to take a seat on the bench after that one.
Probably wish you're at the beach after you make a mistake like that. It happens. Here's Claire Strack back to work. The spin, Kentucky back in front.
Roy, I'm going to tell you, that's a big-time move. That's a 6'5" center right there, being able to put the ball on the floor, make a move against a tremendous defender like Madison Booker. Kenny's got to be pleased with that play.
Yeah, you think about Kentucky in postseason play when March Madness arrives. Great look inside. Carleton now with 10, but to have 2 players at 6'5" with Strack and Tiani Key, and they're just now probably at that point in time getting all their rhythm back and the mojo back. Whatever seed Kentucky's going to be, you can see it right now. It's going to be undervalued because of what's happened when they got players back coming off those injuries.
No doubt. When they start getting their mojo back with playing together, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Carleton again, she's got 12.
You see how for Tiani Key, she can't challenge that as hard as she probably wants to because she can't get in foul trouble. She has to, look, she contested it, but she couldn't be as physical as she probably wanted to be. But Claire Strack and Tiani Key just can't afford to get in foul trouble.
Both teams shooting over 50%, a hot start offensively on both sides. Kentucky back to work, Carleton doing it on both ends.
You know, Vic really stressed today in shoot-around, you got to deny passes. Get out in that pass lane and deny them hard. I don't care if they're on the block or out on the wing. Cunningham
inside, a great lob.
Again, Madison Booker putting her fingerprints all over 2 points with the assist.
And a 5-second violation. Texas leads the country in that category this year. That's number 20 on the season.
That's amazing. That's not an easy stat to lead the country in, because that is hard work. It comes down to just working your tail off, denying in an open floor. That's tough.
Oldacre checks in, Cunningham checks out after the turnover. So the Horns now have made 6 consecutive field goals and shooting a blistering 73% from the jump. 4-point lead. Here's Madison Booker. Too easy.
She does make that look very easy. I don't think it was easy. I thought Hassett was all over, but she makes it look easy.
8-0 run for the Horns. Tony Morgan, the skip pass to Strack. Wide open from the corner, not this time. Hassett on the glass. Back outside to Morgan, and she connects.
Okay, that's a big-time play. Look, Tony gave up a layup to kick it for a 3. Look, that's a very unselfish play. But then she ends up getting it back off that miss and nailing her own 3. She has really grown as a player.
Booker allowing the game to come to her to start tonight. It's been the Justice Carlton show. Here's Jordan Lee, Euro. High off the glass.
Texas really doing a good job of playing off the bounce and getting to the rim. Kentucky's going to have to tighten up that defense.
Now it just feels like Texas is so explosive and they're so deep. Kentucky's lack of depth could be tested tonight. Kenny Brooks is going to play 5, maybe 6, perhaps 7. It's what we saw in their last time out against Vanderbilt. Hassett from downtown.
And that's the player that Kentucky really needs to show out from behind the arc. And Hassett has been doing that as of late. So I know it feels good for them to have her knock one down.
34% behind the three-point arc this year. Carlton trying to spot Oldacre. There was some contact there, no whistle. Now it's Harmon. A little shake and bake, and Harmon. Well defended by Morgan. Horns get it back. Well played first quarter between 2 top 20 teams in the SEC.
I like it. The officials are letting them play. I would rather see a more physical game than touchy fouls.
Madison Booker had to force one up. Through the foul, and Madison going to shoot 2. The shot clock winding down. Key picks up her first. And Booker at the stripe, 83% this season. SEC Player of the Year, Big 12 Player of the Year. Coach said she could be National Player of the Year. Don't forget, gymnastics takes over the SEC Network every Friday night. This week we've got another great doubleheader, including 7th-ranked Mizzou heads to Lexington against number 25 UK at 7 Eastern. Auburn and LSU, number 17 versus number 2 at 8:45. Friday right here on SEC Network. Also on the ESPN app.
You know, what makes Madison Booker so incredibly valuable is her ability to play any position on the floor. That she can handle the ball, she can defend any position, runs the floor, and here's what a look.
23-19.
Yeah, you know, one of the cool, neat things about Texas's quality of depth is it keeps everybody on their toes, because if you're not playing hard and you're not doing what you need to do, there's somebody breathing down your neck ready to get on the floor.
Tony Morgan now outside to Boone, who hit that early 3. In the mid-range, not there this time. Booker skies for the rebound. Ahead to Lee. That's a 3.
You know, Lee's been kind of struggling from the 3 as of late, but boy, that was a beautiful shot. She never needs to hesitate pulling it from the 3. She's got just a really nice rotation on that ball.
Yeah, Vic Schaefer was asked yesterday by the local media, are you worried about where Jordan Lee is right now? And he said no, as Boone connects with her second triple. He said that is the last thing I would be worried about. I got plenty of worries. Jordan Lee is not going to be one of them.
She's really had a good season so far, and every player, every shooter goes through a little cold spells, but they usually find their way in a little matter of time.
Coach, how about the shooting in this one? Texas, 11 for its first 15. Kentucky, 8 for its first 15. Off the mark there, well defended by Lee against Tony Morgan.
And one thing about Texas is they've been getting to the rim, so they're getting some very high percentage shots off the bounce.
Lee inside to Oldacre. She'll force one up and in.
And that's where I think we're going to see Texas really try to take some advantage now, trying to get that ball into Oldacre because it is so incredibly hard to guard her on the block. She gets great position and has fantastic footwork.
We talked about the Twin Towers for UK. Right now, Texas, the advantage in terms of points in the paint, 18-6. And the jump ball goes back to the Longhorns.
You know, Kyla Oldacre's game has really grown. I think Vic Schaefer's been a phenomenal coach for her. She is really, her footwork's improved, her run, her getting up and down the floor, because she can run. I've seen her take the ball off the glass and push it herself.
I mean, she just took the ball from Tiani Key.
Yeah. She's playing with a lot of confidence. I think she knows that Vic believes in her, and she knows her role.
Leah Crump checks in for the first time for the Longhorns. Back from injury, and she has actually been the second leading scorer in league play for Texas, and what a luxury. Bring a talent like her off the bench now that she's healthy. Right on cue and too strong with a three. Leah Crump, freshman from Minneapolis, Minnesota, top 5 recruit. First 5 games, then went out with a foot injury after starting this season, then 4 games back in her return. I mean, Coach, she's been sensational.
Well, she's their second leading scorer in SEC play. So she's around 13 points and shooting the ball confidently, but she's got a phenomenal future ahead of her.
Back to Kentucky. Boone was in there to disrupt the shot as Oldacre went up with it amongst the trees.
This is what is probably astonishing to most people that watch basketball. Oldacre is in the press. Now, normally you send your 5-player back down to the other end, right, to protect the rim. She's up here pressing and denying her man the ball. I love it. I love seeing that.
She loves doing it, too. Boone again from the corner. She's got 3 threes to start.
And that's what she does. She is doing exactly what Kenny Brooks brought her to Kentucky to do, and she is not disappointed.
Against the zone. Texas back to work. Lee dribbles inside of it. Outside to Crump. Off the kneecap and right to Key. Tiani leads the charge. Morgan thought about it. He checked for Boone. 4 for 4 from distance.
That is playing basketball with so much confidence coming in here. So how her teammates are trying to find her. They are looking for her. Where is Asia Boone? We want her to have the ball and take the shot.
Points have led by as many as 7 points. We're now tied thanks to Asia Boone. Bree Preston back on the floor. She's got that lightning fast first step.
Well, you saw how quick Kentucky got out to Jordan Lee right there in this zone defense, not giving her any looks.
Oh, the jump stop, the finish, the floater from Preston.
Really nice penetration by Bree Preston right there. Exactly what you want to do against a zone. You want to penetrate that zone and see if you can draw some defenders, kick it, but she found the basket.
Horns back up by 2. Here's a touch for Strack. They'll find Boone again. Well, you know she wants to pull one. Couldn't do it. Crump right on top. Timer down to 2. Lob to Strack. And a steal by Lee. Here's Aaliyah Crump. Trying to spot Oldacre and a turnover. Right idea, couldn't execute the pass. And off the lob, a foul. It'll go on Crump, her first.
Kentucky's really they're struggling a little bit trying to feed that ball inside right now to their post players, choosing to go on the high side, trying to get it up high instead of coming down low with bounce passes and being able to hold their defender out. But I guess they're trying to take what the defense has given them.
Morgan checks out. Obi back on the floor for Kenny Brooks' team. And now Tiani Key against Oldacre. Oldacre, the block. And the steal. Boy, she blocked it and caught it all in one motion. Now it's Jordan Lee. Oldacre on the offensive glass. Key's able to rip it away. And pass it ahead to Obi and a careless turnover.
Yeah, those are the things. Those are the turnovers right there from Kentucky, where you just have to just slow down. You don't have to push pace every time down the floor just because you got a rebound or a steal. That got them in trouble against Vanderbilt.
Halfway through the second quarter, great look inside to Sidbury. Otea Sidbury on the move and was spotted beautifully.
That's a drawn-up play right there, and they worked it to perfection.
Great dime drop by Jordan Lee.
So we're going to get another look at this. Who doesn't like a good over-the-top play right here? This is against the zone, and you're setting up, you're screening that backside. Whoa, beautiful play right there by Sidbury, and Sidbury finishes.
Well, the efficiency of Texas offensively, through the roof, and really the top 5 in a variety of categories.
Yeah, the points in the paint, those are so important because you're getting them whether you're feeding your post player on the block or you're penetrating in there. And tonight we've seen a lot of off-the-ball driving into the paint and finishes at the rim.
Boone will feed the post. Here's Obi, step back, no. Roy Harmon gave way to Oldacre there to make sure the rebound was collected.
Have you seen how hard the closeouts are now on Asia Boone after that Texas timeout when she hit her 4th three? They have hands up. They're recovering to her much quicker. She's not seeing any daylight to get the shot off.
It's interesting, Coach, you say that because we witnessed a similar scenario at shoot-around this morning. Vic Schaefer was not happy with the effort. At one point, he dropped the clipboard and his notes right on the hardwood in front of us from our broadcast position. And he turned to Roy Harmon and said, this is what you want. You got 7 games left. This is the effort that you want. And everybody kind of stopped, including us. So we paid attention. And Roy kind of encouraged her teammates, hey, let's get it going. There was a better response. The closeouts were better working against the scout team that was UK's offense. And maybe we're seeing some of that after Asia Boone hit a couple of threes.
Yeah, I don't think Asia Boone is going to get many good looks anymore in this game. She has proven that she can shoot uncontested threes. I think she has Texas's attention. And you're right, it was a spirited shoot-around after Vic got on them a little bit, but Texas, and we're sitting there, it's a charge by Jordan Lee. We sit there and watch shoot-around, and we think it's fine, right? But he's the head coach. He knows what he wants to see, and it wasn't good enough. He's having a conversation with his point guard, and I think message was delivered.
I asked you, did you employ those kinds of tactics? Your time at Auburn, at Georgia Tech, various stops along the way, the Olympics, and you said, yeah, like you would talk to a player knowing that the entire team is listening. Sidbury with 4 off the bench, and look, I think it worked with his team this morning. I think it's working right now to work for you, obviously.
Well, you have to send messages, and a lot of times you can't talk directly to certain players. Certain players can't take it, and certain players can take it, but the message has to get delivered, and it did today.
Obi tries to track it down. Possession will be saved. Here goes Morgan. Shot clock down to 8. Wildcats 4 minutes now, trying to get their next bucket. After that run to tie it up at 28, and a foul in the mid-range from the elbow. That'll put Key at the line.
Okay, you see how Kentucky could run no offense just then. The ball pressure is so good by Roy Harmon on Tony Morgan right now that it's making Tony do things that she normally doesn't do. But to take that shot clock all the way down to 0.3 seconds and then foul, now that'll give a coach gray hairs right there because the defense was good until the very, very end.
Women's basketball takes over the SEC Network every Sunday. We've got a 4-pack of games for you again this weekend. Top 5 Vanderbilt in Athens, Ole Miss and Kentucky. The day will be capped off by Auburn at Texas A&M. And you also got Oklahoma and Alabama in the mix. Quadruple header Sunday, SEC Network. Madison Booker, no, and Strack, I believe, clipped her on the way right to the rim.
Now, I know this is a frustrating thing for Kenny. They work so hard down here. They get Tiana Key draws a foul, but she misses both free throws. Free throws have been a real problem for Kentucky this year. And they were a problem in their loss to Vanderbilt. Not turnovers and missed free throws. Even as close as that loss to Vanderbilt was, they still had every opportunity to win the game. But you've got to be able to knock down those free throws. And you've got to be able to take care of the basketball, at least not – you're going to have turnovers. Just limit those live ball turnovers.
He's 66% at the line this season, 0 for 2 in that last trip. And an 8-0 run now in 4+ minutes for the Longhorns.
The ball denial by Texas, Kentucky having to start their offense way outside the three-point line. Just can't get anywhere.
I mean, Boone can't breathe. Harmon was right there. All-time steals leader, making it happen for Texas. And Texas will get it back on the jump ball.
She's relentless. She is a relentless on-ball defender. She's got phenomenal lateral movement. She's super quick. She wants the ball at all costs. And that's how she plays. And when she plays like that, the rest of her teammates can follow that. And that's why you see such hard denial out in passing lanes, because Rory's pressuring the ball so hard, they dare not play hard.
352 career steals at UT. School record. She was honored pregame, commemorating the new record established Thursday night against LSU. As the Horns turn it over, Cunningham gives it back to UK. Anything that Kenny Brooks can do different offensively now, almost half a quarter since they've scored their last point?
I think you've got to get maybe some more movement off the ball, like stagger screens away and run shooters off of that, because this ball screen defense by Texas is really, really good. So how do you get shooters open away from the ball, off of the ball?
Kicked into the backcourt. Strack's going to try to track it down. Over and back as the call went right off her leg.
You know, with Texas denying so hard everywhere, they deny you on the block, they deny you on the wing, they pressure the ball up top. You've got to be able to move without the ball and come off, either you curl off a screen, you're coming off a staggered screen. You've got to have some movement off the ball.
Texas ranked number 4 in the AP Top 25, shuffling of the feet, and Cunningham. Second turnover in the last 3 possessions for the Longhorns.
Yeah, this is 2 turnovers on the block that Texas has committed against Kentucky's block defense.
Saw the numbers there defensively, and those turnovers starting to mount up. Kentucky needs to finish this half with a flurry. We were tied at 28 until we weren't. Strack poked away by Sidbury. She's been a spark tonight. Lead to Booker, Madison Booker playing the mid-range game. A friendly fire there, and Strack's able to hold on to the rebound.
Kentucky struggled. They've tried to run this high-low game a little bit, but they've really struggled to pass the ball inside.
And a kickball gives it back to Texas.
Again, you see the frustration kind of settling in there with Toni Morgan, because every time down the floor she's having to work so hard to make an entry pass. It's just been really hard against this Texas defense.
About a 3-second differential between game and shot clock. Harmon's going to slow it down. Kentucky has turned it over 7 times in the last 6.5 minutes of this second quarter. Harmon off the spin. Baseline jumper. There it is. Wildcats got to go. Morgan's got to hoist one. She cannot, and has a response. Now, if you're Kenny Brooks, what are you telling your team? We were tied at 28. You're making the threes, and then you weren't. What do you try to do to generate some offense, a little mojo here?
Well, you have to play with confidence. You have to come out and know this ball game is definitely within reach, to stay confident. But they've got to, maybe we'll see some backdoor action by Kentucky when Texas is out there denying defensively, or maybe we'll see more action coming off of off-ball screens to get open.
Here's Key. It was poked away towards the Kentucky bench, 13 to shoot.
You see how hard that action was for Kentucky, because Texas is switching ball screens. You know, they've got so many athletes that can play multiple positions. The switching defenses makes it really hard for an offense.
Strack back to the basket, rejected on the turnaround by Cunningham. Jordan Lee, the three.
And that's exactly what you want to see Jordan Lee do. Gets out, runs those lanes in transition, and is ready to catch and shoot the three ball.
So Lee's got 11. Remember, Justice Carlton started out on fire. She had 12 points in the first half. Cats need this one. Strack off the mark and a foul on the attempted rebound. It goes against the Horns and Madison Booker.
Yeah, I love watching Jordan Lee run the lane in transition and be ready to catch and shoot. That's her bread and butter right there. That is not an easy shot, but it is a really excellent shot for a three-point shooter.
Lid remains on. Strack's going to shoot a pair.
And, this is where Kentucky has to up their game at the free throw line. When they get these opportunities to put points on the board, they've got to be able to knock them down at the free throw line. Just
2 of 4 there tonight, and Strack make it 2 of 5, 67% free throw shooter.
I know the frustration as a coach when your team doesn't knock down those free throws, and you don't even want to look over at your coach. Kenny Brooks turned his back when the first one got missed, and look, I've been in that position many a time, and you don't want to not give your players confidence, but it's so frustrating when you get them to the free throw line and they can't knock them down.
First point for UK in over 8 minutes. Jordan Lee weaving through traffic, in and out. And Kentucky comes away with a rebound. Key grabbed it. So UK gets a stop. Back on offense is Tony Morgan. Baseline. And a foul inside. It will go against Texas. So Justice Carlton picks up the personal.
It's kind of a late whistle. I'm not sure if I even saw the foul on that one.
Strack hands it off to Key. Well, that's one way to execute the high-low.
Well, that is. It's kind of like the side-by-side. It was an interesting play, but good job by Claire Strack. Her ball handling is really something that's incredibly important because she likes to play off the bounce a little bit, but good job by her.
It's a Kentucky team that's put together some nice wins this season. Off the block, another empty possession. Key with the swat. Wildcats are 3-3 against AP top 25 teams this year. Started out 3-0, but have dropped their last 3, and sometimes in heartbreaking fashion, including that 1-point setback to Vanderbilt. Harmon, no. Hassett controls the rebound. And Amelia will hand it off to Key. Awkward. And an offensive foul. And there was Jordan Lee drawing the charge.
There was a lot going on in that play. But a great job, Jordan Lee, coming over and getting that position. But you heard the crowd wanted to travel on Tiani Key.
I thought maybe she took an extra step or 3.
Maybe so. We miss those sometimes.
Oldacre, high-low for UT, and a foul over the back is Hassett.
Well, that's a really hard defensive assignment for Amelia Hassett. They're going to switch these ball screens like that. Then Strack is now on the ball, and Hassett has to take Oldacre, and that's a tough ask right there.
Texas this season 8-2 against ranked foes. 8-2. That is a robust mark for a team that many expect to be a number 1 seed in the upcoming NCAA tournament. Charlie Cream has the Horns projected on the 1 line right now, along with South Carolina out of the SEC. Oldacre with a pump fake and the bucket.
Okay, I talked earlier about Oldacre's development here at Texas. Her footwork is really, really good, and that is a great example. I hope we're going to come back and show everybody that. But post-player, 5-player footwork is really important when they get around that bucket. Here it is right here. So great pass right here, the catch, and watch this. Boom, boom. I mean, that's a lot going on right there, Roy. A lot going on without traveling.
Like an old drop step and pivot.
And the up and under to end it off.
Solid move by Oldacre. Roy Harmon stop and pop.
Another beautiful pull-up jumper by Rory Harmon. She's got one of the prettiest ones in the country also.
I mean, she is an extension of this coaching staff. In practice, at shoot-around, on game day, and on the floor right now, and you can sense it. And Vic Schaefer can coach her hard, and I think he takes a lot of pride in that. And I think Rory takes a lot of pride in the leadership component and being vocal or doing whatever it takes for this team to win games.
Well, let me tell you what it did for Rory Harmon. When she allows him to coach her hard, it makes her a better player, a better leader, and it's going to give her an opportunity to play in the WNBA. And if she hadn't have allowed him to coach her like that, she would not have a shot to play in the WNBA. So this has been a great pair, these two.
Strack now with 9. Here's Madison Booker, offensive foul with a push-off. That's her second. Rory Harmon in her career, it is incredible to reflect. I mean, 5 years with the program, all-time leader in assists and steals. You take a look at that middle graphic there. Only active D1 player to hold that mark, and the only Texas player with over 1,300 points and 700 dimes.
Well, and those are numbers, Roy. Those are numbers and stats and all that. But the one thing that Rory Harmon does so well is she leads a team. And that doesn't have anything to do with numbers or stats or anything. She knows how to take care of a locker room, how to motivate a player, how to lead a basketball team. And that's what you've got to be able to do as a high-level point guard.
Tiani Key just picked up her third foul on the shove. So the offensive foul gives it back to Texas, and Key with a breather and likely the majority of this third quarter. Those 3 fouls. Booker stolen by Strack. Great anticipation there. Boone left open, not this time. Her first miss. When she felt the pressure coming, Carlton tried to save it and could not.
You know, with Tiani picking up her third foul, you would think it'd be, oh no, this is not good. But I tell you what, it's okay because Jordan Obi moves back to the 4 where she was having to play the whole time Tiani was out with her injury. So it's not like Kentucky hasn't played like this. So now Obi is back to where she was at for many games while Tiani Key was out. So they shouldn't really miss a beat right here.
Texas has won 39 games in a row in this arena. 39. They've been unbeatable for almost 2 full seasons. Here's Boone. And fouled, dribbling down the left side of the paint. 5:07 to go here in our third quarter. The second on Oldacre.
Boy, impressive by Asia Boone right there. She put that ball on the floor and went at Oldacre. We're used to seeing her pull it from behind the arc.
Harmon checks out. Boone at the line. She's now in double figures. She's got 13 after that free throw. Horns have turned it over 3 times in the last 90 seconds. And Kentucky, I mean, Coach, give UK some credit here. They're hanging around and taking body blow after body blow from Texas tonight.
And that's probably what it feels like. You know, because it is a physical defense. It's a good defense. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a strong physical defense.
Booker off the mark. Kenny Brooks said, I was telling my team several days ago, we have to embrace their physicality because they're going to be slapping, they're going to be grabbing.
I think that is exactly right.
You think Charlie Cream has a life this time of year? Or
no.
Does all he do, he just crunches numbers, he's got a calculator and like some kind of slide rule. I don't even know what he uses.
A protractor.
Yeah, there you go.
Something like that.
Those graphical calculators from the late 90s.
See, Kenny Brooks has he sat Toni Morgan down. She was a little frustrated going into that timeout. She had turned the ball over. This pressure, it'll get to you. It'll get to you. But she's got to catch her breath over there and get herself back on this floor.
I would say that Vic Schaefer's message to his team today at the end of shoot-around has been received loud and clear. And as we speak, wide open path for Boone. Her first 2-point make. And Asia Boone now starting to step up with 16.
I'm impressed with Asia Boone. It's nice being able to see her play in person. You know, sometimes it's different seeing a player in person than just always watching them on TV, but she's got a lot of, I'm going to say, oomph about her game. She's confident, good shooter, but she's also the backup point guard, so she's having to handle this pressure that Texas is bringing.
Oldacre ripped away the rebound and the dump off inside. went to Justice Carlton, who now has 14, and the Cats give it back to UT. Well, you can kind of feel it too, Coach. Every run that Kentucky makes, Texas has had an answer, whether it's been Asia Boone and then Rory Harmon forces a turnover, or moments ago, Oldacre the rebound, and the dime dropped easily to Carlton. What was it like for you as a coach in this conference, like this time of year? Because I do feel like what Vic Schaefer experienced with his team at Shoot Around the Day, where it felt like maybe there was a little lackluster-ness to it, and he had to offer his choice words to kind of get them to where they need to go. But it's mid-February. We've been playing ball since late August, going back to the start of preseason practice.
Well, start of preseason practice, and hey, back it up even into the summer. So these kids have been in the weight room, on the track, all through the summer, getting stronger, getting faster. There's a lot of work that goes in. This season becomes very long. So right now it's like the grind time. It is the hard grind time. So as a coach, you've got to get them through this time. And there's certain things you can do. You know, sometimes coaches surprise their teams and do a little something different or change up practice or whatever just to keep their attention.
Look at the hustle by Oldacre. Turns it over on the drive, and a jump ball. It's going to stay on this end.
Now that was some chaos right there. Just some chaos. And did we not hear that word from Kenny Brooks today? Hey, you got to be able to handle the chaos. So right now, Oldacre trying to make a play off the bounce, but she doesn't leave the play. She stays with it and gives Texas the ball back.
Did you dial it back a little bit at times in practice this time just to try to keep the legs fresh?
Well, you would have to, because it came down to you wanted quality practices. You didn't necessarily have to have 2-hour practices. You just wanted to get the work done at a level that you knew was going to be beneficial to your team moving forward.
Quiet night for Madison Booker to 6 points, a couple of rebounds. She's been more of a distributor so far, and Strack with a body bump. Oldacre picks up her third.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Oldacre because she was there. I thought Strack did a good job of making that contact with Oldacre and drawing that foul.
Kentucky in the bonus. Rest of the quarter, and a chance to score a couple of points with the clock stopped for Clara Strack. 67% at the line this season. 1 for 2 tonight. Don't forget our SEC Network Tuesday night men's basketball doubleheader. Duke Miles, Tyler Tanner. 19th ranked Vanderbilt head down to Neville Arena. Face Auburn at 7 Eastern. Then Arkansas at LSU. 9 o'clock. That is tomorrow, Tuesday, here on SEC Network. Also on the ESPN app, a little Tyler Tanner, Darius Acup Jr. I would argue those two amongst the top 5 in terms of potential SEC Player of the Year performers on the men's side. And Tanner coming off that 37-point outburst in the 1-point loss to OU on Saturday. I think the SEC on the men's side, Coach, I think they're going to get at least 10 into the field of 68 this year after getting 14 in last year. We'll see.
That's amazing when you think about it. 14 teams into the NCAA tournament.
They dominated non-conference play, and that meant that all the league games were quad 1 affairs. Morgan, a great hesitation in the mid-range is there.
I think this is a really good move by Kenny Brooks. So he has Morgan playing the 2. So took her off of the ball to give her a little bit of relief against that pressure, and now turn her into a shooter.
Back to the zone. Jordan Lee left open. And Strack hauls it in. Here comes UK. It's Boone. Back to Strack and fouled right at the rim. There was a late swipe, and Claire's going to shoot 2 more at the line.
Yeah, I think we need to remember this point in time where Tony Morgan is at the 2. Really nice move and play by Tony to find Strack. But I go back to Kenny's decision to move her to the 2, keep Asia Boone at the 1, take some of the pressure off of Morgan, turn her into a scorer. I think let's remember this point in time, all right? Where he did it about, 2.5 minutes in the third quarter?
I'm writing a star right now to remember 1:51 to go in the third quarter. Coach said it, Strack makes it. And Kentucky, with all that's happened, after being shut out the final 7 minutes of the first half, Strack 1 for 2 again. The lead at 7. Horns led by 14 just 4.5 minutes ago.
Texas having to work against the zone, and we saw them work on this today in shoot around.
Cunningham, no, and Strack clears the rebound. 2-on-3 the other way. Kentucky with a flurry here at the end of the third quarter. Big possession for both sides. Morgan again. No-look dish to Jordan Lee.
It's a good look by Jordan Lee. That's a shot she's been taking all game long, and it's definitely, that's her wheelhouse right there.
Kentucky basketball. Harmon back on the floor. The final 62 seconds for our third quarter. Entertaining game. It was back and forth early. Texas seized control at the end of the first half, and Kentucky has remained within striking distance. Boone's had a big night. Baseline jumper. Not this time. Leah Crump back in off the bench. She's been held in check. And Crump full head of steam, and offensive foul.
Really nice job by Tony Morgan to get there and take that charge. Look, it's a gutsy play right there. That cop probably could have gone either way, but hey, the blue uniform got the call. You know, I would never want to be an official. There's not enough money in the world. They could not pay me enough to be an official, because that's a really hard call. That's a 50-50 call right there.
Everybody despises you, right?
Yeah, you cannot win in that job. You just can't.
Get a lot of exercise, though.
A lot.
Average about 4 to 5 miles in steps a game. Off the miss, 10 on the timer, 19.6 left in the quarter.
Really important right now for Kentucky to use as much of that clock, as the 10 seconds as they can, and give Texas this limited amount of time to score.
Backdoor cut, no. Obi with 2 to shoot. Now Tiani Key got to go, and a shot clock violation. Cunningham wouldn't let her breathe. And the Texas defense has been smothering again.
Yeah, I thought Obi could have shot the ball. I thought she was going to. She had an opportunity to pull that.
Now it's Harmon. Jordan Lee for 3. Kentucky out.
Now, again, I'm so impressed with how Kentucky came out in that third quarter from halftime and won the third quarter.
Key with a chance for 3. Tiani Key, great start for the Wildcats here to begin our fourth quarter.
You know, it kind of feels like Kentucky just had to kind of calm down, feel the heat, and now they're just taking it at Texas, because that is not an easy thing to do for Key to drive all the way in, get all the way to the rim. And I know that's frustrating for Vic Schaefer right there, because that is not something that Texas normally allows opponents to do.
Cunningham just picked up a 4th foul. Key couldn't complete the 3-point play. And the lead at 5. And working against that Kentucky zone. I mean, Kenny Brooks has done a nice job switching things up defensively to try to keep Texas off balance. The Horns into the third quarter, 1 for their last 9.
Well, he was really forced to go to the zone because Texas kept off the bounce turning corners and getting downhill and getting to the rim. Against this zone, they've got automatic built-in help to stop that from happening.
Bucket here makes it a 1-possession game. Who wants it at the end of the shot clock? Morgan's got it. 3 seconds to shoot off the screen, and the hezzy. Morgan. And Strack's able to tap into Boone. Fresh 20. Key. But 2 decent looks for the Wildcats there, Coach.
There really was. I thought that Morgan's pull-up jumper was really nice. It looked like it was on target. I might have, off that Key quick shot, I thought that was a little too quick. Could maybe use a little clock on that.
Here's Harmon. And Rory Harmon in traffic. There was some contact falling out of bounds and a whistle. Boy, Harmon just finds ways to create chaos. Defensively, on offense with a shot clock winding down.
Yeah, that was really good job of getting downhill against the zone, and unfortunate for the foul because Kentucky really didn't need the foul. Just contest the shot.
Key just picked up her 4th foul. She's got to go to the bench.
Well, again, you've got Obi still in the game, can move to that 4 spot. That's where she's been playing primarily over the last 6 games anyway. So this isn't really anything new for Kentucky to play with.
1 of 2 for Harmon. And Obi rips away the board. 49-43. The points have been at a premium after a red-hot start from the floor for both teams tonight. And Morgan forced her way inside. Well, Tony's going to shoot 2. It's been a frustrating night for her so far. We're staying in the same elevator as Kentucky. I saw her earlier. You talked to her earlier. You're a former coach at Georgia Tech. She said, man, I love the weather right now. It feels so good outside in Austin. I said, I couldn't agree with you more, Tony. It is fantastic. It's like 35 degrees here this time last week. Today it's 83.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? But, boy, the Midwest just got hit so hard. Can't imagine what Lexington was like.
Tony Morgan in league play. It has been lights out. See her numbers. Over 16 per game. That's getting it done, Coach.
That is, and you know, she's so capable of that. That's pretty much what she averaged at Georgia Tech. But this is where what's raising its ugly head right now for Tennessee is the missed free throws. They're 8 for 15 at that free throw line.
49-44. Those missed free throws adding up for the Wildcats inside. Ashton Judd just checked in, Missouri transfer. And she's able to work her way to the free throw line. You know, Coach Vic Schaefer, his media session yesterday, I told him earlier, I said, Coach, it was like 25 minutes. I only got one question for you. I said, I thought the media asked you some good questions. He kind of looked at me and I was like, well, I got what I needed. But he was talking about Judd, and he goes, Ashton would step in front of a freight train to take a charge for this team. That was a great line, and it speaks to, hey, at Missouri, she could be scoring a lot more and doing a lot more, but at Texas, she kind of knows and understands her role, and she wants to be part of that championship conversation here.
Well, and those are the decisions that players have to make. If you're in a program and you don't think you have an opportunity to even maybe get to the NCAA tournament, Ashton wanted to play in that tournament and go as far as she could with the possibility of winning a championship.
Off the miss, Booker dived on the deck. There's a scrum, and the jump ball is going to keep it on this end.
Okay, that was a little bit like a soccer match going down the floor. The ball literally was not dribbled down the floor. It was kicked down the floor or hit or somebody fell on it. That was an interesting way to run transition.
Yes, it was.
But you know what it's telling us? How important this game is for both teams. Both teams are battling their guts out right now. They're doing everything they can to win this game and get some kind of momentum.
Judd again. Traveled.
Now I know Vic, he's upset. There was a lot of contact on that. But you know, there's been a lot of contact all day long. So it's not like they're calling it any different.
Yeah, for these officials, veteran officiating crew, they've done a nice job, and it's been consistent the whole time.
It has. They're letting them play. There's no doubt about it. They're letting them play. Morgan.
Elbow jumper is there, and look at what we have here.
Hey, game on, baby. That's what Tony Morgan just said right there to Roy Harmon.
A battle of the SEC in prime time. And against the zone, it's Judd. Off the mark, and maybe not the shot Vic Schaefer wanted there. By the way, we mentioned Missouri. I want to point out Kelly Harper's team's playing very well these last couple of weeks. They've had some marquee wins in the last couple of windows.
And, you know, it's really unfortunate. She lost Jordan Reisma to an injury, and she's out the rest of the season. And they were rolling. They really were. She was on the verge of really getting them to turn a corner.
They got a big game coming up against a familiar foe.
Yes, they do.
Lady Vols.
That's going to be really interesting going back to that court for Kelly Jolly. Harper. So I always call her Kelly Jolly. That's her college name, not her married name.
Boone created a little separation, couldn't get the shot off. Strack, a monster step, and connects. The lead is down to 1.
Playing with great confidence right now. Kentucky has found some rhythm a little bit, even though it looks a little jerky, but it's a little bit of rhythm. Fort is into everything they're doing right now.
My question for you, when is it Madison Booker time? She's got 6 points tonight. That's it. Only 6. Oldacre lost the handle. There was contact and a foul. Be the third team foul against Kentucky. Hey, Booker hasn't forced it, hasn't forced the shot, has been an orchestrator of the offense more than anything else. But, Coach, she averages 19. She's got a third of that so far.
Well, just hang on, Roy, because it's probably it's about to come. I would imagine that there was a little talk about it maybe in that timeout huddle. But I think Madison Booker, she does have a great feel for the game of basketball. And I think that we're probably going to see her show out here in just a little bit.
Oldacre shows the touch on those 2 free throws. Well, Harmon has to have her head on a swivel when you look at Strack trying to set that screen. Crowd on its feet. Oldacre a steal.
And that's what Kentucky can't do. They cannot turn the ball over in these last 5 minutes of the game and give away their offensive opportunities. You at least have to have a shot on the basket. 21
turnovers for the Wildcats tonight. Harmon to Lee. The ball movement is there. Carlton, no. A push. And that's going to go against Booker. That'll be number 3.
That was a good call. She was going in after that board, but you can't go through a player to get it.
Now, what would it say about Texas to be able to win a game like this when the SEC Player of the Year has been okay, but hasn't been up to her typical standards?
Well, first of all, it speaks to all the other quality players that you have on your team. That's the first thing it speaks to. But the other thing, right now, Kentucky's defense has been just as tough.
In and out for Boone. The box out for Carlton. And a foul over the back. Jordan Obi picks up number 2.
Boy, Obi's been a little quiet, too. It would be nice to see her pick it up offensively a little bit. That would help Kentucky.
Hasn't scored tonight. Boone leads the way with 16. Strack with 13. Tony Morgan with 10. And it's been the Carlton and Lee show for Texas. How about the spin? Oldacre's been a 4. Arrived in Lexington after an incredible run at Virginia Tech. Oldacre's been clutch at the line. Now 4 of 5. Above her season average at 64%. 5 of 6. And the lead back to 5.
And look at Oldacre up in the press. That is so impressive to me, to have your 5-player up here denying and working just as hard as the guards in a full-court man press.
Her footwork on the press has been incredible. Morgan inside, and the layup.
And that's where Tony Morgan is so good, getting to the rim. And you see how the floor was spread. It was 5 out. They gave her a ball screen, and there she went to work.
12 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds for Tony Morgan. Transfer from Georgia Tech. 53-50. Booker. Harmon to Carlton. Outside of Jordan Lee. Booker on the offensive rebound.
What a beautiful rebound by Booker. She got up and looked like she was 10 feet in the air. You don't think this game's important for Texas? Every one of these players out here right now are fighting their tail off.
Wide open look, Justice. Carlton buries the triple. Her 5th 3 of the season. That's it. And tonight she's got 17.
Well, that woke the crowd up too in a big way. A big three like that is like a big slam dunk in the men's game.
Off the trip, Oldacre. It was about an inch or so with the shoestring, but the foul was called. And Booker's rebound, you called it, Coach. An amazing job to keep that possession alive.
Yeah, you want to see her flying? Look at this. Look at this. That's a beautiful rebound right there. Now, look, it didn't look as high as it did from where I'm sitting right now, but it was just as important. And this 3, nobody near Justice Carlton to contest that 3. Big shot.
Coach, she's 5 of 11 from downtown on the season now after that make. In to shoot. Pass it back to Boone. Morgan's been effective as of late. The crossover, stop and pop.
It's really hard right now for Morgan to turn a corner to the 80s. That's where, you know, a lot of championship teams end up. But the three ball they're selective about it. They're just very selective about when they take them and who takes them.
With 3 minutes to go, Cunningham spins with the bounce off the back iron.
I feel Texas settling in a little bit against this zone defense by Kentucky and finding their opportunities.
Sounds a lot like March tonight here in Austin, Texas. It'll stay with Kentucky. These fans have been in it. And every UT run in front of 9,572 has been greeted with a very warm reception, and it has been loud.
You know, the Texas has responded, Roy. You know, when here Kentucky's making this strong run at them, they responded. They came back, played hard, getting O boards, knocking down the three, scoring inside.
Morgan, boy, Harmon, the outstanding defense. That's why she leads Texas all-time in steals. You got to play outstanding D, and the footwork and just the effort and the hustle, Coach.
Nobody's going to out-hustle her. And her ball pressure defense, active hands, it's incredible.
Carlton is short, and the rebound grabbed and a sandwich. Arrow's going to keep it on this end. So Kentucky now hasn't scored in the last 3 minutes. It's a one-possession game. It was a one-point game, and then Texas trying to finish strong. And a timeout called by Vic Schaefer.
Well, Madison Booker came right out of her shoe, so Vic had to call the timeout because she was shoeless.
A shoeless Madison Booker is not what Texas fans want to see on the hardwood. Well, we've talked about justice being served. It has been that and then some. 17 strong points. Critical moments in this game for the sophomore from Katie.
She just has every tool in her bag, whether it's from the three-point line on in. She's really, really efficient with how she plays the game. And again, I go back to how I said earlier when the game was starting, she's pretty methodical about it. It's very smooth, but she's a player that she's just a solid player that you can depend on in the crunch time. I think she wants the big moment. I think she wants to be the one making the big play. Doesn't make a big deal about it. She's just very confident in herself.
4 off her career high. Boy, Lee thought about it. She wants to take a little bit of extra time off the clock here. Vic Schaefer was right behind her. Now it's Lee again, the mid-range.
I love that play by Bria Cunningham. She just tips it. That's just as good as an offensive rebound. She goes up, gets a fingertip on it, and hits it out to her teammates. I love that when players do it on the O boards.
She did it to extend the possession, chew up some more clock. Shot clock down to 2. Lee was fouled on the way up.
Aja Boone did everything she could to try to keep that ball in front of her, but then fouled at the end, and that's unfortunate for her because she was really playing some good defense on her.
I don't know that the final score Texas holds on is going to be indicative of what this game has been about in the fourth quarter. Neither side's going to care. Like, all this proves is that Kentucky is still finding its way as its roster comes back together now healthy. And they're not going to get worse from this point moving forward. The schedule's been tough, and we found out tonight that Texas, with Madison Booker initiating the offense, doing her thing but not scoring, can still handle a top 20 team, Coach.
No question. I think there's so much to learn. There's still 1 minute and 22 seconds left. Look, so I'm not saying who's going to win or lose this ball game. There's so much that Kentucky can learn from this game in dealing with pressure, ball pressure. How are we going to get our offense going? How are we going to get shots in it? We saw them run a couple of back doors in the second half. And to be able to do that would be nice, and to make those passes against those, those backdoor cuts. But Kentucky is going to learn a lot from this game.
10-point game, 1:22 to go. The Horns coming up their schedule. Well, you got another showdown in Music City Thursday night on SEC Plus with Vanderbilt. Then Sunday, a 3 o'clock tilt in Knoxville at the Food City Center against the Lady Vols. And well, who knows what that game is going to feel like between now and then, but an ABC tilt at 3 o'clock Eastern there.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how Tennessee bounces back from the loss at South Carolina. Look, let's call it what it is. I mean, it was a bad loss. It was a tough loss. Kim Caldwell, Tennessee's coach, was not happy about it and challenged her team. I mean, it's a huge challenge put towards her team, and it's going to be interesting to see how they bounce back.
Texas resume in terms of being a number 1 seed and, of course, a host. The number 4 in the net rankings, rock solid. And that record versus quad 1 competition is going to put you in the good graces of the committee on Selection Sunday, Nell.
Yeah, and I'm sure Texas has to be happy with that projection. Who knows if it sticks? You think it should. It seems like it should if they finish this season out the way that maybe Charlie Cream thinks they are. But being that 3rd overall number 1 seed is not a bad place to be sitting.
Strack the putback, no. And there's the whistle. The 4th foul on Cunningham. And Strack try to end this 7-0 run.
I think this is an area where Claire Strack has to really continue working on, is that getting to the free throw line and knocking down those free throws. She's 50% today, 3 for 6 from the line. And look, when you get in these tight games, free throws matter so much. Because you've got to be able to get to that line, take advantage of the little bit of rest that you get there, and knock these things down, because they are such difference makers in a close game.
This game has also had the feel of a late contest in Greenville next month, too, in the SEC tournament, where you could see these two clashing again, maybe near that semifinal round.
And Roy, in the SEC tournament, it's a whole different feel. Like, this has a feel to it, regular season, but at the SEC tournament, there's nothing better than that tournament. It's phenomenal. And there's always upsets. There's always unexpected, wins by an underdog. And it's just one of the most fun conference tournaments you'll ever go to.
In a great city, no less, too.
Absolutely. Boy, Greenville has upped its game, Roy. It's upped its game.
Yeah, that Greenville, as they like to say there. It's my hometown. Under a minute to go. Texas on the verge, and inside a grab of Cunningham. Texas in the bonus, 2 free throws coming.
It's a good post up by Brianna Cunningham right there. And she just, she's a lot to handle in there. And it's hard. The high-low defense, it's hard. You get sealed out. You're trying to work your way around to deny.
Kentucky will get Texas A&M in Lexington. That's coming up Thursday night at 6:30 Eastern here on SEC Network. And Joni Taylor, I see her prior. That team, we were there in College Station a week ago. Just trying to figure it out with a roster that's probably not as deep as it will be next year when he's got 3 McDonald's All-Americans coming in. Texas has also got 3 more McDonald's All-Americans coming in next year, too.
Yeah, the only 2 teams in the country that have that particular thing happening for them. 3 McDonald's All-Americans.
Well, you could build a franchise with all those McDonald's players coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
In Lexington and here in Austin.
There you go. I love McDonald's.
I do like a good Big Mac.
I do.
And a foul. Put Booker at the strike.
Can't beat the French fries. I mean, come on.
Well, you like the thin, crispy fries like I do. Yeah, the fat, floppy one's not a big fan. Mm-hmm. They get too soggy.
No, I won't even go eat there. That's what their fries look like.
Now everybody's getting hungry. Oh, Booker, 6 points tonight. Just 1 field goal now, 7. But she didn't force it. And, I mean, I don't know that Texas has needed her to be the top player in the league, so they've kind of done it in more of a unique way.
But it is difference making when she doesn't score. They've got 64 points. Booker's scoring, they're up in the 70s. And so, but she does other things. She has 5 rebounds, 4 assists. She defends her tail off. So, she's on the floor for the entire game. She's just, her 19-point average definitely would be a difference in the score tonight. But, sometimes players need to maybe not have, it's not taking a night off. It's, hey, other one's got to learn to step up.
Right. Well, Justice Carlton did that.
That's right.
She is perfect at the line, and she stays there less than 10 points. That'll break a run of 21 straight games in double figures.
Look, she's the steadying force. Rory is the ball pressure, get after it, create that energy. Booker is the steadying force of the ship.
I mean, it stands to be a future number 1 pick in the draft, right? The W.
The number 1 pick, the future number 1 pick in the draft.
Lead at 13, Kentucky is fouled.
She just does so many things, Rory. She can play every position on the floor. When Rory went down with her knee injury, she was the point guard. Whoever saw that coming? Nobody ever saw Madison Booker being the point guard, and did a great job.
The other thing, too, with 35 there in burnt orange, the LSU game Thursday night, we haven't talked a lot about that this evening. That was an emotional game. It was a lot of fun to watch, to see the back and forth. And then the fourth quarter happened. And Vic Schaefer talked about that today and also yesterday in his session with the local media. Max effort from Madison Booker on defense against LSU. That's going to take a toll in middle February, right? Where, we talked about the grind of league play. So perhaps some of that was a factor tonight, and this crowd will rise to its feet collectively. Almost 10,000 strong. Vic Schaefer puts the hand up, 64-53 the final. It was not easy, nor did we expect it to be, but Texas will get it done.